Okay, so I removed one 10mm nut. They tell me there are 7, and I can see 2 here. Actually, I can see 3. One right behind the dryer high. And one behind the dryer down low by the drain hole. That's 3. And then we have a 4th I can see there. It's like right behind the wiring. Let's get this wiring out of the way. Yeah, that'll work. Alright, and then we've got one over the battery tray. I want to show you this. My setup, I have installed the auxiliary battery box tray in anticipation for some stuff I was doing a couple of years ago. I never actually put a battery here, but there is a 10mm screw right above that battery box. And I'm pretty sure I got to take it off. That would be number 5. And I've removed 5 from this area. So this box travels across. I'm assuming there's 2 more. I know there's one behind the engine. There's probably one over here somewhere in this insulation. I have the insulation sound deadener on the firewall, and you can see the rats have been chewing on it and pretty much destroying it. I don't know how you stop them, but apparently the stray cats around here can't. Now I'm going to remove that 10mm bolt above the battery tray. Alright, that's number 5, so 2 nuts and 3 bolts so far. I've got to undo the hoses, the heater hoses. The hose clamps here are 5/16 head. So I've got a 5/16 nut driver here. And I replaced these heater hoses about 2 years ago, so I don't know that I'm going to replace them this time around. Of course, a little coolant is going to drip out, so you might either want to catch it or clean it up. The whole cooling system is cool, so there's no pressure. I had a person, one of the viewers, ask me if GM still uses the 2 different size heater hoses. and they appear to be the same size, but I could be wrong on that, I don't know. All right, so heater hose 1 is off, and okay, I was afraid of that, so I've got me a pick with a hook, and I'm going to stick it in here and try to break the seal between the hose and the fitting. Let's try anyway. Let's see if it'll work. Got to dig it in and then get it all the way around, and it'll break that seal, and then you can start getting the hose loose. But you don't want to, if you're going to reuse this hose, you don't want to damage this hose. Alright, looks like I broke about half of it. Let's see if that'll be enough. Nope. Go all the way around. That may not even be a long enough pick to get this thing broke. Oh, there it goes. Oh, it broke it off. All right. It broke the fitting off of the heater core. These two little quick connects have to come off too. All right, this is the fitting that's on the end of that heater core. I already took one loose. Inside that fitting there are 4 tabs. This thing slides over that aluminum tube right there. It locks on. In order to get that loose, you have to have this, which is a 3/4 inch little plastic unlocking device, I guess is what you would call it. And you put this over that aluminum tube and you slide it towards the front of the truck, and it goes inside of this. It slides inside of this and forces those little tabs to unlock. This one came loose surprisingly quick, considering that it's been connected for a while. Feels like these things are made out of plastic, and I'm going to replace both of them. Obviously I have to replace that one, it got broken, and so considering the age of these, I'm going to replace both of them. Now, with you watching, I'm going to try to use this tool to remove the other fitting. These fittings have to come loose in order to get this core out, or you got to cut the lines, one or the other. So it's going to be hard to get to. I got to spread this little plastic dude out and fit it over that aluminum tube and pull it apart further. There we go. Get a little bit more to it. I guess you could cut this thing in half and it might be easier to get onto that plastic, on that aluminum tubing. All right, it's snapped onto the tubing. Now I'm going to slide it towards the front of the truck. And it did, it's inside. Now I'm going to turn the fitting and see if it'll come loose. And of course it's not wanting to. It went in the fitting, but not far enough, I guess. Oh, it did come off. Cool. So it unlocked it, and I twisted it, and the little plastic fitting came off of the aluminum tube. Now getting this little tool off of there, that's a booger. There we go. And it shot across the engine bay. I may never find it, I don't know. We've got 2 more 10mm screws. I'm pretty sure that is one. And then they say there's one down low. Yep, I can feel it. It's behind the engine. And it's almost straight down from this one right here. It's just almost straight down. It's like about 8 or 9 inches. It feels like a bolt, so you could use a swivel. On this one, you're going to have to use a deep well socket. And it's a long stud. The insulation's all got a little bit of antifreeze on it. It's all wet. Okay, 10 millimeter swivel socket on a long extension. It's not as hard to reach as you would think it is. It is behind the engine, but it's not that difficult to reach it with a swivel socket. And it's out. Okay, now I'll let you see the engine bay with everything unscrewed. Got the dryer set over to the side. The heater hoses are folded back and they're not leaking. And I've got both air conditioner hoses sealed up. I should have also, sorry about the airplane noise in the background. I should have all of the 7 fasteners taken off. The heater core and both of the quick disconnects are taken off. So it should be ready for the heater core to come out. The whole box. It should be ready for the whole box to come out. I'm going to find out. I also should have told you earlier that it doesn't make sense to cover these and seal these up if you don't do something with the evaporator. So I had a couple of extra plugs that I cleaned up and put over the evaporator in the holes to keep the dirt and debris and trash from getting inside the evaporator while we take it out. Thinking that this one 10 millimeter bolt here is attached to it. It kind of sticks out like a sore thumb, and I don't think it's going to hurt anything to pull it loose. It feels like there's a screw still holding it together, and this could be the one. So this would be the 8th one, so that means I pulled a screw loose that I shouldn't have pulled loose, but again, I don't think it's going to hurt anything. Well, it's loose, but it's not wanting to come out. That's interesting. Okay, there it goes.